Hello and welcome to the program, Philascope. I am Akin Ajibola. Philascope is a public enlightenment program aimed at articulating the federal government developmental program towards ensuring a rapid growth and development of the country. Today, the program shall give detailed information and analysis of the giant strides accomplished by the government in the bid to ensure delivery of democratic dividends to the citizens. We shall also attempt to explore sides to any issues of public interest with accuracy, objectivity, and fairness. So in today's package, we shall be focusing on President Tinubu's launching of the expatriate employment levy to facilitate homegrown skill retention and technology domestication. Highlight of the efforts embarked upon by President Tinubu's decisions taken at the Federal Executive Council meeting. These and many more stories of socio-political and economic importance shall be brought to you in this special package. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now let's start with the handbook on expatriate employment levy. Earlier today, at the State House, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu launched the expatriate employment levy to facilitate homegrown skill retention and technology domestication, which aims to balance employment opportunities between Nigerians and expatriates. The goal is to close wage gaps between expatriates and the Nigerian labor force while increasing employment opportunities for qualified Nigerians in foreign companies operating in the country.
I must place on record here to say I commend you for the tireless effort on renovation and rejigging the Ministry of Interior, passports issuance, lessen the frustration of Nigerian homes and abroad on the time that has been taken. You've created a change in the dynamic and the game we face in the country. Not only you are eliminating the fact that the blame of our country, the anger shown by people, is reduced, and they have messages commending your efforts. And today is another game changer. The honorable ministers here present, distinguished Senator Adam Oshiomhole, all other members of the National Assembly, and Comrade Chief of Staff, we say, all the senior government of service, head of service, and other senior government officials. Let me also take this opportunity to congratulate the newly appointed Comptroller General of Immigration, who was appointed just a few days ago. Congratulations. We hope you continue to renew our hope. I have the honor to be part of expatriate employment levy program handbook. I consider it a game changer. It is important to know that ELL is a contribution recently approved by the government, which will impose effective timeline on expatriate work in this country, to be able to train and develop Nigerians. I've listened to Honorable Adam Oshiomhole, our distinguished senator. making very good and valid points on why Nigerians should be in the forefront of technology transfer and stem the brain drain associated with our current situation. We expect revenue generation improvement, improved naturalization and indigenization, employment of more Nigerians by foreign companies operating in this country, balancing of employment opportunity between Nigerians and expatriates, close wage gap between the expatriate and the Nigerian labor force by making it more attractive to hire Nigerians. We must assure Nigerians that there's light at the end of the tunnel. We might be going through difficult periods now, but when you look at the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget, National Planning, and people manning this ship of this country, including Central Bank of Nigeria, they have collaborated, and in the spirit of development and progress, we are glad that good effort is being made to retool, re-engineer the finances of the country, and make growth our hallmark. I've been further assured that the project has the capacity of plugging loopholes and gaps that have bedeviled the country in dealing with security challenges. Movement of foreigners in and out of the country. Interestingly, this scheme will wield the dual fold of revenue generation as well as addressing the unemployment challenges and salary gaps attendant in the remuneration of expatriate workers as compared with Nigerian counterparts. I declare my support for the expatriate employment levy scheme, and I will continue to encourage the operators, practitioners of the immigration matters and expatriate quotas, but don't use it as a bottleneck. Don't use to frustrate potential investors. There must be clear line of implementation and effective acceleration of aims and objectives of this program. Immigration matters and expatriate quotas and relevant stakeholders are to be effectively guided to make Nigeria the focus of the objective of this EAA. Therefore, it is my honor that the handbook expatriate employment levy is hereby launched. Thank you. God bless Nigeria.
Speaking further, President Bola Tinubu said as a government, it is expected that the expatriate employment levy will improve revenue generation, naturalization, and indigenization, and anticipate that the employment of more qualified Nigerians by foreign companies operating in the country.
I'm highly delighted to welcome you all and our partners to the launch of the Expatriate Employment Levy, EEL project. The EEL is a contribution imposed by government on organizations who employ expatriate workers in Nigeria with the aim of both labor and technological domestication in Nigeria. The project will be operated on a public-private partnership, PPP model, between the federal government of Nigeria, represented by the Ministry of Interior as the guarantor, with the Nigeria Immigration Service, NIS, as implementing agency. And the technical partner is Mrs. EEL Projects Limited. The project was approved by FEC on 17th of May 2023. At this juncture, I wish to express my gratitude to His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his leadership and mentorship, and finding time as well, despite his schedule, to launch this project. It is worthy of note to mention that the project is in line with the 8-point agenda of Mr. President, especially on the issue of job security and economic growth. Please recall that successive governments of the Federal Republic of Nigeria have sought ways to increase employment, domesticate technology, and as well increase revenue generation while creating wealth through PPP initiatives in MDAs. It's important to note that this project will, among others, as I said earlier, lead to technological domestication in our country. Also, huge revenue generation to government, especially at this particular point in time. Improve nationalization and indigenization level within the labor space. Employment of more Nigerians by foreign companies, by both foreign and local companies operating in the country. The main essence is to be sure that if you are bringing an expatriate to work in Nigeria, it should be a job that no Nigerian has the skill to do. That's the major objective of this particular initiative. Balancing of employment opportunities between Nigerians and expatriates. And of course, closing wage gaps between expatriates and the Nigerian labor force by making it more attractive to hire Nigerians. Knowledge transfer and technological domestication. It is our belief that the renewed hope agenda under the leadership of our amiable President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will be achieved within the labor space as more Nigerians will have opportunity to participate within the labor space. Having reviewed the outline business case, the OBC, the ministry, in collaboration with relevant MDAs, carried out due diligence to interrogate issues around reciprocity, legality, concession, taxation, backlashes, etc., vis-a-vis economic and political implications. A project delivery team, PDT, drawn from the Ministry of Interior, Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, Nigerian Immigration Services, and the Federal Ministry of Justice, further engaged the company and successfully drew up a robust concession agreement. As a guide, a comprehensive handbook has been developed on the project to guide stakeholders, especially the whole foreign-owned companies, joint venture companies, organizations, and indigenous companies that employ expatriates to understand the concept as well as to comply with the new ideal. It's important I say this, that part of the motivation is to reduce the dependence of companies on foreign personnel, and of course to also reduce the rate at which renewal for expatriate quota is being sought after by companies. If this is well implemented, of which we can assure Your Excellency, it will be duly implemented. We want to see a scenario whereby once an expatriate comes, there should be a knowledge transition period of which Nigerians should be trained to be able to take over this responsibility and create opportunities for our teeming youth. Today, therefore, marks a historic launch of this project for operationalization. I wish to personally thank His Excellency once again for his mentorship, for his leadership, and for standing up for Nigeria at this particular point in time, for being able to take the bold decisions. Mr. President, we want to thank you for giving renewed hope a special place in the history of Nigeria. God bless Nigeria. God bless His Excellency.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Chief of Staff to the President, Comrade Bajabia Miller, the Honorable Minister of Interior, my very dear friend, the Activist Minister, Olubunmi Tuji Ojo, and of course my colleague and friend from the National Assembly, the Chairman of the House of Rep Committee on Interior, other ministers here present, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, sir, I'm very honored to be invited to be part of this event, and I'm very excited that this whole thing, at the end of the day, centered around the need to ensure that jobs that Nigeria can do are handled by Nigerians and not by expatriates. I have been concerned about how we can put in place a policy that will ensure that companies, whether indigenous companies or foreign companies, don't bring technicians and read them as engineers, and some Nigerian engineers work under them as technicians. At a time when we have huge numbers of unemployment, beside encouraging investment in the manufacturing sector and other labor-intensive sectors, it's important that those that are already here, that the job that we can do them. Mr. President, I'm very excited that the Honorable Minister of Interior has called to show leadership, commitment to national prosperity, and removing all the obstacles that just a few years back were thought to be insurmountable. This, for me, Mr. President, is yet another bold initiative. I am on record as having visited a former minister, and I said to him that I was disappointed about the rate at which people come to Nigeria as tourists, and they're able doing even many jobs across the land. Now, without having to do a petition to the Honorable Minister of Interior or bringing him to the Senate floor to tell us why he should not pursue policies like this, I'm excited that on his own initiative, he has developed these policies and he has already enumerated all the potential benefits that will come from it. I can only assure you, Mr. President, that we in the Senate, we are excited. I will communicate this to my colleagues, because we all have to share with Mr. President the burden of putting in place appropriate policies that will ensure that more and more Nigerians are engaged, and they are engaged in jobs that are good paying jobs. That is the way to fight and defeat poverty in the long run. It's a good message. It's not a lecture. There is nothing I can see that the Honorable Minister has not already said. Just to say, sir, that I am excited about this, that Nigeria will be a dumping ground anymore for foreign unskilled labor. And foreigners, beside the revenue that will accrue, I believe the minister, having thought through this, will ensure that if somebody must remain in Nigeria for 10 years, he can't have any excuse not to be able to train a Nigerian to take over that job. Nigeria jobs for Nigeria, that should be the slogan. So, Honorable Minister, I want to congratulate you. And Honorable Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief, this truly is a renewed hope for the unemployed, skilled Nigerians who want to work, who are able to work, but whose jobs are currently being done by foreigners who sometimes are not as qualified as those Nigerians. Congratulations, Mr. President.
It will be recalled that the renewed Hope administration seeks a more significant balancing of employment opportunities between Nigerians and expatriates and the closure of the wage gap between expatriates and Nigerian labor force by making it more attractive to hire Nigerians. Also, we have highlights of the Federal Executive Council meeting recently held and chaired by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Monday. Here are some of the highlights of the far-reaching decisions taken. The FEC-approved construction of Lagos Port Harcourt Calabar Coastal Superhighway to Messrs. H Construction Africa. The first phase, made up of 47 kilometers, will begin in Lagos. Also, social security payments to the vulnerable household to begin immediately, while recipients will be those with NIN and BVN. Also, part of the decision was the social security payment to be extended to graduates from NCE and upwards. Consumer credits to be established very urgently. Chief of Staff to lead a committee that includes Budget Minister, Attorney General, Coordinating Minister of the Economy and Finance, to make the scheme a reality. The Council also, in order to enhance efficiency in federal service and reduce the cost of governance, decided to implement the recommendations of the Steve Onosanye panel on the restructuring and rationalization of federal agencies, parastatals, and commissions. The implementation involves merging, subsuming, and scrapping agencies with similar functions.
I think the point is that the fact that you are merging does not necessarily mean that you are going to lose jobs. But of course, you know that efficiency will come in, and if efficiency comes in, if there is discovery that somebody is not doing what he should do, he will be supported to go elsewhere or create another avenue for him to get employed. The whole idea is not to throw people out of jobs. This is not the whole idea. The whole idea is to create efficiency and also make it possible for government to save funds where necessary. I think that is, you have to take that all collectively together. You are not just rationalizing because you want to throw people away from jobs. You are rationalizing and bringing them together, subsuming, sometimes relocating, so that there will be efficiency in the operations. There are instances where some of these agencies are virtually doing the same function. So government thought that it is important that you look at those ones and bring them together so that they will have seamlessness in their own operations. And the process, like I said, efficiency could be created, money also could be saved. I will ask Dr. Hajia Hadiza Balatu if she has other comments to make on that, or I just stop with that. Around the issue of the National Assembly, if you listen to what the SA policy coordination said, we're going to work with the National Assembly. Of course, there are regulatory frameworks that are in place, like you rightly said, that some of these agencies were created by acts of sometimes Parliament, and so you can't just take them out. A coordination between the executive arm and the National Assembly to ensure that that happens. Has a question to the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy. I will allow him to answer. She's asking what is different this time around, and what has happened, what have we discovered, and what is different this time around by this policy taken. I will allow the Minister of Finance to answer that.
Special Advisor, what is different, what was wrong with the SIP? I think it became obvious that the payments were not going as originally envisaged. The idea was, and it remains, that payments are made 25,000 naira per household directly to the beneficiary for a period of 3 months. And the payments were meant to be verified, and the register was meant to be one that had the integrity between the name on the register and the name that eventually got the funds, and it was meant to be individual payments. That was not the case. The rest, as we know, is under a process. Channels also asked about the fact that we hinted at the fact that the panel was investigative. No, it is not an investigative panel. It's a panel to review the social investment programs with a view to benchmarking, analyzing, reviewing what went wrong, and looking at how to make the whole program best in class across all facets, not just the payments themselves, but even the concept of those who are targeted and the way in which help is directed to them, to assist them as part of the social safety net, which Mr. President is being keen to put in place, and which you find in any, what I would call, any caring democracy around the world. So as regards the difference between what is happening now and what happened then, as the payments resume, each payment will be verifiable. There will be as the Honorable Minister for Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy has said, and of course he's the expert in this area, there's a triangular cross-verification and coordination of all the aspects of payment. The beneficiary, their account, their NIN, their BVN, and of course at the end of the day, where the payment actually lands, the account or the mobile wallet. So that's the big difference. This time it is with integrity and with transparency and accountability. As regards the ongoing investigation, that's exactly what it is. There is an ongoing investigation. We are not part of that. And so there's nothing really to be said. It will run its course, and in the fullness of time, I'm sure you and all of us will be informed. Thank you.
The cost of the Section 1, the coastal road, the cost as approved by BPP is for 47.474 kilometers. That's phase 1, Section 1, and it contains 2 carriageways, 2 service lanes, 2 service ducts, provision for rail infrastructure, and on the whole, 10 lanes in all per kilometer. And the cost is 1.067 trillion naira, not dollars, naira. Did you get it, huh? Yes, okay. Then the question is, why starting this? Purely investment, and it has a lot of benefits. One is that, it's also a form of ocean protection along the coastal roads. Then number 2 is that it has a lot of infrastructure development along the corridor of the road, like factories, industries, markets, and so on and so forth are going to be developing along the corridors. As we go along, we are acquiring, land to do this. And another one very important is the rail line. It's going to carry rail line, and it shortens and of course decongest the traffic in Lagos. So there are a lot of benefits that are inherent in this, investment.
Because there is an ongoing discussion about the Nigerian Labour Congress and their proposed strike. Actually, a protest rather. Actually, the council notes that and discussed this thoroughly. Now, the Minister of Labour and Employment also briefed council on the discussions that she has been having with the Nigerian Labour Congress. Of note is that all the 15 points that were agreed upon with Labour in the last quarter of last year, in October last year, they have almost all been fulfilled, over 80% compliance by the federal government. And so that is why government sometimes is baffled about the need for the Nigerian Labour Congress to think that it is appropriate for it to embark on a strike at this point. But they are Nigerians, they are brothers and sisters. The federal government keeps calling on them, and we are not going to relent in drawing their attention to the need for them to see reason with government. Why government is going through, and Nigeria is going through challenges of the moment, we don't think that it is the right time for Labour to embark on any kind of protest or whatsoever. Or every point that they had laid down in the conversations or discussions we have had with them have been met, except those ones that you cannot just buy off the shelf. For example, the issue of the CNG buses and the toolkits are not just on the shelf for you to just go and buy. Of course, the processes have been put out there. Everything about those agreements, the 25,000 has been paid, the 35,000 wage award, all that is in progress. There's nothing that government has done to either truncate that agreement or to not to implement at all. So we are calling on the Nigerian Labour Congress to see reason, and we are also thanking other affiliates, organized labor, the TUC, and about 65 other organizations who are seeing things the way that the federal government is seeing by asking them, by saying they are not going to join the Nigerian Labour Congress. We appeal to Nigerian Labour Congress to please see reason with government while government is working through the processes of ensuring that Nigeria progresses, Nigeria develops, so that we don't truncate these processes. Thank you very much, gentlemen of the press. Yes.
Our Hetman Committee has a 12-week deadline to ensure that necessary legislative amendments and administrative restructuring needed to implement the reforms are effected in an efficient manner. President Tinubu noted that the action will not result in the loss of jobs by civil servants, and that the initiative is in accordance to ensure the reduction in the cost of governance. Let's quickly go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with the rest of the story.
Our first efforts at democracy and self-government were abruptly arrested in the mid-60s, largely as a result of the incongenial atmosphere engendered by the uncompromising stance adopted by the political parties of the First Republic. Thus, opportunities were lost for our people to interact and learn to accommodate different points of view for the betterment of the country. We must not allow that episode to repeat itself. The new system that will have adopted presents us with yet another opportunity to achieve national integration, which is a prerequisite for the building of a strong and virile nation.
Welcome back. President Bola Tinubu has set up a tripartite economic advisory committee of federal government, subnationals, and private sector. The president on Sunday met with key stakeholders at the State House and announced the establishment of the economic advisory committee. The committee involves representatives from the federal government, state, and private sector. The president emphasized that the committee aimed at enhancing efforts towards stabilizing the economy and securing the best economic prospect for Nigerians.
To look at what we are doing right and what we are doing wrong, to bring life back to the economy. Like I said many times, the people of this country are only the people we have to please. And we are very much concerned, from the students to mothers, fathers, the farmers, the traders, and realizing that every one of us, we have to fetch water from the same well. We are looking for additional efforts that might help the downtrodden Nigerians, and we will provide that hope and the assurance that the economic recovery is on its way. We are not saying that we have all the answers, but we will not be blamed for not to try. We assure Nigerians that we will do our best to get our Marshall Plan in place and fashion out the best economic future for this country. I thank the organized private sector, my friend and brother Aliko, Samad Boa, Tony Lumelu, Koladeshina, and many of you. I really sincerely thank you, Bismarck Rewani and Our Lady. I mean, good job, provocative and thought-provoking challenges for our country.
We had a very, very good meeting, and what we discussed is generally about the economy, food security, security of the nation. We discussed everything in detail, and I think there is the economic, presidential advisory which has been set up, and I think this will look at all the issues and address them. Coming from creating job creation, coming from food security, coming from also reflating the economy. So all these things, they've been discussed in detail. I can't give you all the details right now, but we are hopeful, and we're a great nation. We have what it takes to turn around the economy, and we're going to do that.
I think, as has just been said, it's a tripartite meeting, and designed to, put heads together and to think together. They will have one national economy, and it's the responsibility of the 225 million Nigerians to work together to make it great. And we have all the potentials, and we have all that it takes to make Nigeria, get right through these turbulent times and put the economy back on a sustainable keel. I think there is a unity of purpose, a determination, the sense of patriotism and determination by all to make it happen. And by the special grace of God, it's now the execution. Once it's all got done, executed, and this becomes a standing committee that will be meeting from time to time, to evaluate how things are going and make recommendations to Mr. President and to the nation as well.
It was open, it was frank, and it was exhaustive. And some of the issues we discussed, for example, like the foreign exchange rate, which we know has always been the problem, for the past 2 or 3 months. We have discussed on how to, bring the foreign exchange, the rate down, because we all know that what is happening in, as regards the foreign exchange is artificial, is manipulative, And thank God, the CBN, is doing quite a lot now. The exchange rate has come down from 1.8 to maybe 1.615 now. And as we all know, everything in Nigeria is indexed to the foreign exchange, especially when it comes to, stuff that we import into the country.
I leave that meeting with a lot of enthusiasm, excitement, and optimism about the future of our country. I believe that implementing the decisions we arrived at today will help propel our economy and help alleviate the poverty in the land, help create employment, and help put food on the table.
As a governor, I can assure you that all hands are on deck. All governors have resolved to join hands with Mr. President to ensure that you provide the necessary intervention to cushion the effect of what we are going through, whilst we are waiting for the implementation and the evidence of the fiscal and monetary policies that are already in place. So the teeming public should have that confidence that we are not leaving them alone. In my state and in other states, we are bringing in rice, we are bringing in food items, and we are selling at rates that obtained before, the downslide of the naira. So we are going to be doing all those kind of things to bring stock to the common man until when you begin to see the evidence of the fiscal and monetary policies. Thank you very much.
So I think the private sector is looking forward to the implementation of most of the decisions that we have made with the president. Manufacturers are looking forward to an environment that is conducive for business, and so the issues surrounding foreign exchange, insecurity, and general operating environment were discussed. And we received the assurances of Mr. President that very soon we are going to start to see some major changes. And I think the advisory committee that will be formed, the private sector will play a very significant role. And Nigerians should continue, to going forward, be hopeful that we are having solutions to the challenges that we have.
Moving on, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said that his administration is strongly committed to providing excellent healthcare facilities for all Nigerians and will continue to prioritize domestic and foreign direct investment in the sector. The president made the remarks at a meeting with Professor Benedict Orama, president and chairman of the board of directors of the African Export-Import Bank, accompanied by a delegation from King's College Hospital, London. President Tinubu welcomed the partnership between Afrexim Bank and King's College Hospital, London, to establish a first-rate healthcare facility in Abuja called African Medical Center of Excellence, scheduled for completion in 2025. The president said the project will further strengthen the long-term vision for the healthcare of the Nigerian people, stating that his government is determined to succeed. President Tinubu, who was recently appointed the African Union champion for human resources for health and community health delivery, emphasized that the continent cannot afford to remain behind in the quality and accessibility of the healthcare system. The president therefore asked Afrexim Bank not to relent in its commitment to invest in projects that will ensure that Africa possesses the expertise and resources to meet its own healthcare needs. The coordinating minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, explained that the bank and King's College Hospital were also collaborating on building a medical and nursing school alongside African Medical Center of Excellence, in line with the administration commitment to expanding the training of healthcare professionals in the country. Now, for the activities of the Vice President during the week, Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima has officially launched the Light Up Nigeria Southeast Initiative in Enugu, describing it as the much-expected solution to the power supply deficit that has undermined the nation's economy and industrialization. The Vice President said the Light Up Nigeria project, which is part of the priorities set by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to refine the nation's economy and ensure rapid industrializations, renewed hope for industrialists, investors, and Nigerians who are to bear the brunt of the country's past challenges for so long. Vice President Kashim Shettima, during the project launch in Enugu, also commissioned the 181 geometric power plant in Abia State to accelerate power supply to industrial clusters in the region. The project, a collaboration between the Niger Delta Power Holding Company and its partners, is targeted at reforming Nigerians' infrastructure with the much-needed drive in empowering Nigerians and strengthening the economic policies of the President Tinubu administration. The Vice President also flagged off the Smart school project of Governor Peter Mbai in Enugu, and various road projects in Abia State constructed by Governor Alex Oti. Delivering his address titled A Stable Light for a Steady Economy, the Vice President noted that the project is part of federal government responsibility for the nation's industrialization and fulfillment of the promises made by President Tinubu. Border communities against incursion, Vice President Shetima, Vice President Kashim Shetima also pledged the federal government's action to secure and develop Nigeria's border communities to improve the life of residents and the security situation in the country. With this report, we have come to the end of today's program. Next week is another day. Join us, same time, same day. My name is Akin Ajibola.